I'll be discussing change in the quantity demanded. What do you mean by change in the quantity demanded? A change in the quantity demanded implies a decrease or an increase in the quantity demanded that is brought about by a change in the price of the commodity. That is, when the price of the commodity increases, we expect the quantity demanded to fall, and when the price of the commodity falls, we expect the quantity demanded to rise. That is the law of demand. So when this occurs, we call it a change in the quantity demanded. So in other words, therefore, a change in the quantity demanded is mainly caused by a change in the price of the commodity. That does not mean that other factors cannot cause a change in the quantity demanded. You are going to see when we are dealing with changes in demand, because any factor that can cause a change in demand will also cause a change in the quantity demanded. But a factor like price that can cause a change in quantity demanded cannot cause a change in demand. Okay, if you don't understand it now, you understand it better when we are dealing with change in demand rather than change in the quantity demanded. Okay, now let's start. The summary here is that when the price changes, what is the effect on the quantity demanded? That is the change in demand. For example, if I have my demand, so let's say this is QD, this is the price, and let's say I have my demand curve drawn like this. Okay, let's say I have my initial price, I call it P1 and I call it Q1. This is the origin. Let's assume there is an increase. Now, let's assume there is a decrease in the price of the commodity. So let's say P2, from P1 to P2. Okay, the effect will be that there will be an increase in the quantity demanded from Q1 to Q2. You can see here, when there is a decrease in the price, there is an increase in the quantity demanded. Okay, summarily, we have, let's say we have point A, we have point B. There's a movement along the same demand curve, that is, along the same demand curve from one point to another. For example, the initial price is P1 and that is point A. When there is a fall in the price to P2, there is a movement from point A on this same demand curve to point B, and we now have a new quantity demanded. You can see we have Q2. So summarily, an increase in the quantity demanded is mainly caused by a decrease in the price of the commodity, not other factors at this time. Okay? Now, let's also say we have a decrease in the quantity demanded. Let's also illustrate a decrease in the quantity demanded. The same way, let's say we have our demand curve, let's say this is the price, we have the quantity demanded, let's have our demand curve A, B, B. Let's say we have initial price, we call it P1, this is Q1. Okay, now let's assume there is an increase in the price of the commodity from P1 to around, let's say P2, and the corresponding quantity here is Q2. You can see when the price rises from P1 to P2, let's say this is point A, this is point B. There's a movement from A to B when the price rises from P1 to P2. Their quantity has fallen, the corresponding is Q1 here, and has fallen from Q1 to Q2, or point B. Okay. Therefore, when there is an increase in the price of the commodity, this will cause a decrease in the quantity demanded, not a decrease in demand. Okay. Also, when there is a decrease in the price of the commodity, this will cause an increase in the quantity demanded demand. Why? Because a change in demand means means a shift in the entire curve. You can see we have a single curve here. We have a movement along the same curve. In other words, change in the quantity demanded is also known as the movement along or a movement along the same demand curve. Don't forget to like this video, drop your comment, also share the video to benefit others. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.